All right, so we are looking at the step down method of reallocating the overheads of service departments. All right, remember, we're still dealing with this question for NBL. All right, we apportioned the overheads to the relevant departments: mixing, assembly, stores, and maintenance. Apportioned those overheads, and we got the totals. So now after you get the totals, the next step is you need to reapportion the overheads for the service departments. The service departments are not involved in directly making the goods and services, all right, or whatever is being produced by the company. So their overheads are going to have to be reapportioned back to the production departments. So there are many ways to reapportion them, but in this question specifically, they told us to use the step down method. So for the step down method, the basis is this: whichever service department is providing the most services to the other departments, okay, whichever service department is providing the most services to other departments, it will be reapportioned first. The other way you can do it is you can reapportion the overheads for each service department, like here. You reapportion the overhead for stores to maintenance, and also maintenance, you reapportion its overhead to stores. Then you see whichever service department is giving the other one a greater cost will be reapportioned first, okay? Whichever service department is giving the other service department a greater cost, reapportion first. Okay. I've also heard other sources which say whichever service department has the higher overhead, you can reapportion it first. All right. So for this one, we're going to use the basis of whichever service department is providing the most services to the other department. Okay, we're going to be comparing stores and maintenance. Okay, so we're going to come to this information here, the additional information. Okay, and we're going to see, all right, for stores, what is the service that is providing to the other departments? Number of store requisitions. This is also the basis of apportionment that we're going to use to reapportion stores. So you can also take it as the service is providing to the other departments. Okay, as you can see, all departments are covered for with store requisitions. Okay, then you look at maintenance department. What service is it providing to the other departments? And this will also be used the same, be used as the basis of apportionment for maintenance. It's maintenance hours. Okay. So if you compare, all right, And I forgot to mention this, when we're reapportioning stores, we have to ignore this number for stores because it's being reapportioned. So we ignore this number. But yes, when we compare between the two, between stores and maintenance, we can see that stores is the one which is providing more services to the other departments as compared to maintenance. Okay, because maintenance hours, as you can see, 30% mixing, 70% assembly, total of 100%. Okay. So, based on this, we'll say we're going to reapportion stores first. Any questions before I continue? So, stores gets reapportioned first. So, as I said, when you're reapportioning a service department, whatever value, as you saw here, stores we had 1,000 store requisitions here, but we're not going to include this number now, okay? Because stores' overhead is being shared out to the remaining three departments, okay? And if you include its number, then it means you're apportioning the overhead back to stores, which is illogical, okay? So the same way we were apportioning earlier on is the same way we're going to be apportioning now. Stores, the basis of apportionment that we're going to use, number of store requisitions. What is the total number of store requisitions? You're going to say 3,500 plus 4,000 plus 1,500. You get a total of 9,000 store requisitions here. Okay, 9,000 store requisitions. Okay, so we can now share out the overhead for stores. When we come to our table here, the total overhead for stores is 411,716.34. This is the amount that is going to be shared to mixing, assembly, and maintenance. All right. So we said we're using number of store requisitions. Let me get this there. Okay, let me just do it here. Yes. Oh, let me just bring this table here. Okay. So for mixing department, you're going to say, let me remove these values here so that I put the workings. So for mixing department, they've got 3,500 store requisitions out of a total of 9,000 store requisitions. We multiply it by this amount here for stores, because this is the amount that is being shared out. 3,500 over 9,000 multiplied by 411 716.34. Colleagues, we can get our calculators already. What value do we get? I rubbed out the value. Should have left it there. Oops, oops. 160. Or 112, not 111. Oh, you've owned. But even this one, if we round it off, it becomes 112. And it also depends on how things have been rounded off. Okay. How the things have been rounded off. But yes, this is the value, a value close to this one. 160,111.91. You might get a 112 point something. The differences are coming from the number of decimals you keep from this division. Okay, now we go to assembly. Okay, remember number of store requisitions for assembly is 4,000. Okay, so you're going to say 4,000 divided by 9,000 times this 411,716.34. But let's confirm if we're getting similar values to this. Okay. Then finally we reapportion to maintenance. Maintenance has 1,500 store requisitions. 1,500 divided by 9,000 multiplied by 411.716.34. Ish, what's this? All right. Yes. What do we get? Are we getting a similar value with what's on the screen? we're getting a 68,000. We're getting 68,619. Okay, I was saying we are reapportioning stores overhead to maintenance. Remember, the basis of reapportionment is number of store requisitions. So maintenance has 1,500 store requisitions out of 9,000 store requisitions, and we're multiplying it by the overhead for stores. So 1,500 divided by 9,000 times this. So I was asking, are we getting this a similar value with this tabulation here? Or are we getting different values? Okay. All right. So you put a, a negative value for the overhead so that it remains as zero here. Okay. The overhead has to remain as zero. Okay. So we've reapportioned stores overhead to uh, mixing, assembly, and maintenance. Any questions before we reapportion maintenance now? Okay. Now, before you reapportion maintenance, since there's a new amount that has been brought from stores, this 68,619.39, you need to add it with the first total for maintenance. Once we got the total overheads for each department, that amount, add it plus this amount that has been apportioned to maintenance. So 316,633.33 plus 68,619.39. You get 686,769.7 ngwe. So this is the amount that needs to be reapportioned from maintenance back to mixing and assembly. We've got rid of stores, so do not even try to apportion to stores. All right. And the basis for reapportioning to maintenance is maintenance hours. Okay. Maintenance hours. So here, 30% goes to um, mixing, 70% goes to assembly. So what we just do, we're going to say 30% of this amount. Okay, 30% multiplied by the Maintenance overhead. Colleagues, what values are we getting? Are we getting a similar value to this 30% of? Yes. Are we getting a similar value? Okay. Then assembly gets 70% maintenance hours. So you multiply by this. You should get something close to, or you should get 480,738.35, or a similar value. And as I said, when you reapportion, always add a negative value of the overhead so that you remain with zero. Okay? Because like this amount has been split to these two departments. So it means if it's split, it means this side it remains zero. Okay. So now, since we have reapportioned back to the production departments, we just get our totals. Okay. So for stores, 1,023,570.22 plus 160,111.91 plus 206,030.72. When you add these figures, you get the new total overhead for the mixing department. What is which department is this one? Mixing, yes. Then for assembly, same thing. You get the totals, the original total that you got after apportionment, then plus the reapportioned amounts that have been brought from the service departments. You get 1,936,287.15. Yes. Any questions? Okay, so now after we've got this, the total overhead for our production department, this is where we're calculating the overhead absorption rate. The overhead absorption rate, think of it as the overhead cost per unit, okay? Think of it as the overhead cost per unit. All right. So, how we get our overhead absorption rate? Here's the formula. It's the total overheads divided by your absorption base. Okay. You can choose what base you want to absorb the overheads with. Okay. So again, the bases you can choose them from this additional information. Okay. You can say, okay, for mixing department, what base do we want to absorb our overheads with? All right. There's you can use kilowatt hours consumed, direct labor hours, maintenance hours. Okay. You pick an appropriate absorption base. Okay. Don't use area square meters or, or hey, machine value. Those are not really, how can I say, they're not, they're not good absorption bases for the production department. So for the mixing department, the absorption base is we're going to use direct labor hours. Okay, the direct labor hours. Okay, so what you do is you just get the overhead for mixing department, which we said 1,389,712.85. Yes, we that's the total overhead divided by the activity or the absorption base. Our absorption base, which we chose, was direct labor hours. Mixing department has 159 direct labor hours. So I'm going to say 1,389,712.85 divided by 159. Colleagues, what value do we get? I'm getting 8,740.33 per direct labor. Oh. So if it means for each unit, if it takes 2 hours for each unit, right? You multiply that 2 hours times this amount. That will be your direct. That will be your thing. That will be overhead cost. Okay, for your material, for your good. Okay, the per unit overhead cost. Forgot to mention. Okay, for each unit, this is the rate that you're going to use. All right. Yes. Any questions? All right. For assembly department, overhead absorption rate, total overhead cost divided by our absorption base. Also for this one, we chose to use direct labor hours. Okay. As I said, there are a lot. There are many you can choose from here. Okay. But it has to be appropriate. Okay. It has to be very appropriate. So our total overhead for assembly department 1,936 divided by the number of direct labor hours for mixing. I mean, for assembly, it's 190. So it's divided by 190 labor hours. All right. When we divide this, yes, 10,190.985 per direct labor. Okay, or to be, if we wanted, we could have used kilowatt hours consumed also. Okay, because even when we're producing one of these good, any of these goods, there's electricity involved. Okay, so it's up to you to choose your absorption base. Right? Yes. So that's how you get your overhead cost per unit.